Good afternoon. This is the September 19th meeting of the Police Station Building Committee. We have a quorum, and this meeting is called to order. First on the agenda, we have the minutes from August 15th, 2022. Any discussion?
Make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the minutes from August 15th, 2022. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted unanimously. Next, routine, we have bills to pay again. We have Fontaine Brothers, $1,730,311. Allied Testing Laboratories, $831.44. Construction Monitoring Services, $61,512.16. Community Advocate, $76. Tecton Architects, $40,287.25. And Colliers, $2,870, for a grand total of $1,835,887.85. Any comments or discussion?
Good.
We're good? We have a motion?
Motion to approve the warrant.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to pay on the bills as stated previously. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted unanimously. Item number 4, we're on to reports, and we have the owner's project manager, Neil. Good afternoon, Neil.
Good afternoon, Pat. Thank you. All should have received the updated budget in your package. Total expenditures to date, just over $21 million, $21,026,323 to date, and that includes amounts of invoices presented here this evening. Does anybody have any questions on the budget?
I need to find it. I know it's here somewhere. There we go. Anybody?
I did.
Donna, yes. Go ahead, Donna. Why don't you
I
find
gotta
it?
find my.
I know.
It was, wait a minute. I just didn't want you to move on before I found it.
No?
There were a couple of items that, and I might be in the wrong slot for the question, where the town isn't paying for it. It's,
That's part of the change order discussion, I think.
right,
Can we
so
talk-
I should
we'll
hold
talk
that.
about the change order
So I should hold
later
that.
in, yep. It's on
Okay,
the- later on the agenda.
okay.
Okay?
Just didn't want to miss it.
Understood?
And Neil, I just have one question. I think
Sure.
there's a good news scenario, but on the exterior communications budget, I remember seeing a number I thought at one time that said 4.95 million, and now I'm looking at 4.32.
So, we requested from Joe,
I can help with that.
Okay.
We have that in our, in your Google Drive. The budget is 4.98 million, so just shy of 5 million. We've paid out to date 4.32, but we anticipate going up to that 4.98.
Okay. All right, very good. Thank you. So that's what we've expended to date then, is the 4.32.
We've expended 4.32 to date.
Okay. Oh, I was hoping we might be saving a few
Yeah,
bucks.
unfortunately,
All right.
we're locked into that budget.
Thank
quite a
you.
while ago.
All right.
See where we're on that? Kristen? Can I jump
Go
in?
ahead, Mo. Yeah.
See it? I was looking at that before the meeting. But we budgeted 4.9, but on Joe's sheet, it said that the proposal was 4.5. So why do you think it's going to be 4.9?
So there was 4.5 for the main infrastructure, and then there was the Centec tower replacement, the installation of the BDA, the Masonic generator upgrade,
Oh, okay.
and several other ancillary things that are on the left-hand side of the
Oh,
spreadsheet.
okay, it's just the way you put it together.
Printed out,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, thanks.
Anything else on the budget?
okay?
Anything else?
I have a couple of packages, just by way of means for updating on purchases that we're proceeding with. I'll take the last one first. We had previously requested and received authorization to move forward with some maintenance equipment. Since that meeting, which was, I believe it was originally in July, we have since decided to go in a different direction, different pieces of equipment from different vendors. The net difference is about $400, I think, from where we originally were. But the memo identified as maintenance equipment one outlines what those changes are by line item. And I just wanted to provide it and ask anybody if they had any questions, we can go into further detail on those.
Anybody? No?
Good?
I think we're
Okay.
good there.
New purchases that we are proceeding with. First one is the garage has a vehicle platform lift that is part of the tools and infrastructure, if you will, that are built into the garage. That is being purchased out of what we call best practices. It's less than $10,000. So it's being sourced through Tools and Equipment Connection, in the amount of $7,857.45. This was a budgeted expense. We knew this was coming, and it's been carried under the FF&E budget since the onset of the project.
And it's just a hydraulic
It's
lift.
literally a four-post lift. It's a platform that
Yep,
will have, I would say, limited height, because you're
okay.
fighting the overhead door above it, so we're not gonna have people underneath it working on transmissions and whatnot. This is
Okay.
just for processing a vehicle or storing a vehicle off of the ground if necessary.
Pat.
Any questions?
Yeah,
Good.
one pet.
Well-
So who installs that?
They install it. It's part of the price.
Oh, okay.
And it's, I don't wanna say it's simple, but they bring the four posts in, they locate them, they bolt them to the floor, and then there's an electrical hookup, and that's it. It's very simple. It's just a platform that rides up and down. Pretty straightforward.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
Next package is computers and peripheral devices. Replacing many of the computers and monitors and terminals that are being used at the current station. Everything is being sourced through Dell, through the Selco's IT department. Total cost of that package was $121,448.79. Any questions on the computers?
Is that all the IT? Is that it?
No,
There's still more?
there are other pieces. We talked about the switches early on.
Yep.
This is the computers and peripherals. There's also telephones that we have yet to source. Sure, there'll be other things that come up, some cameras, miscellaneous cameras throughout the building.
Switches aren't ordered yet? I
No,
thought-
the switches were ordered a year ago.
Right, okay. So there's already an order in
Yes,
for them,
yes.
and they're not reflected in,
They're in the on this memo, they're in the 1.4 million that's already been committed,
right, okay,
yes.
okay.
Donna?
Is this the part where I would ask you about the IT upgrade? That was in one of the minutes.
It's in the change orders. It's okay. I know you want to get to the change order, Donna. We'll get there.
I'm psyched,
I understand, that's two
but
questions.
I didn't know if that
Nope.
IT piece with the total,
Unrelated, different source,
wonderful.
okay? Good.
I'll sit here and try to wait for change orders.
Anything else on IT?
Last package is custodial equipment for the new building, sourced through the Mass Higher Education Consortium, I think it's a purchasing group that the town is affiliated with. Total package was worth $34,461.36. Mops, buckets,
Floor scrubbers,
floor scrubbers,
vacuum,
Vacuums, yeah.
Right.
carpet extractor.
normal,
All stuff you need for the.
Sounds pretty routine.
yeah.
Yep.
All right,
Questions?
any other questions? Good,
Okay.
super. Thank you.
Thanks, Neil. Next, we have a pinch hitter this month. We have Tyler from Tecton Architects. Tyler, welcome.
Thank you,
Look
thank you.
forward to hearing what you have to say this month.
Sure. So I basically just put together the photos I took while during my site visit last week. So I'll share my screen and run through those quick. Okay. So looking at the front elevation here, the exterior envelope is getting close to being closed up. There's a couple more curtain wall elements that need to be installed, and some metal panel, and that last section of brick that will be going up soon, but it's moving along. This is a closer picture of the curtain wall that is just on the outside of the training room. What's still left is there's some white metal frame caps that will be installed over these, so they won't look like black frames, they will be white. Moving along, this is the south elevation by stair 2. As you can see, they're installing the metal frieze board above, up high, right under the roof eave there. And this is one of the curtain wall elements that still needs to be installed right by that stair exit, and that will be surrounded by the precast. So a closer picture of the frieze board that's being installed. Moving along to the west elevation, the garage doors, some of them have been installed. I believe there's 2 that have been left uninstalled just to make it easier to bring materials in and out, but those are moving along. They also started grading and compacting the site at the backside of the police station and underneath the parking canopy. This is moving along to the north elevation. They're kind of off in the distance. You can see that they're currently installing the framework for the curtain wall that looks out of the fitness room. And in the foreground of the picture, you can see the formwork for the generator pad. The sunken plaza walls, retaining wall, and planter walls are well underway. This is a photo looking down at them. Moving on to the interior of the building, this is the lobby. Most of the walls are complete with drywall. It's just ceilings and soffits that are still in progress. The public restroom right off of the lobby. This is the training room. Again, most of the walls are mostly sheetrocked and taped. Right now they're working on framing out the overhead soffits and coordinating for the drop-down monitors that will be installed in that first soffit. This is the clerk's room. Kind of the similar situation. Most of the walls are mostly done. There's a little bit more work around the curtain wall there, and ceiling still to come. The patrol room, the ceiling grid is up in there. Light fixtures are being placed, as well as HVAC diffusers and air returns. It's just interior of the garage showing the garage door installation. This is the male locker room on the first floor. Those are the soffits that will be above the lockers, where the lockers will be vented through that soffit. Moving on to the fitness room on the interior, you can see they're currently installing the framework for the curtain wall in there. Painting has begun. Prisoner processing is also moving along. There's some, most of the finish CMU masonry work is complete. Metal frames have been installed. The wall angle for the security ceiling has also been installed throughout, and there has been the first coat of paint in a few areas. This is in stair 2. Ceiling is well underway. You can see the grid is fully installed, and ceiling tiles and light fixtures are being installed as well. Moving to the second floor office space. Again, walls are mostly complete. Paint has begun. ceiling grid has been installed and light fixtures as well. This is the detectives area. There's been a lot of progress in here. Drywall is almost complete in this space. Those beams running overhead will be clad in wood, which should be coming soon. And then this is the last image, I believe, of the roof. And the roof is almost complete. I'd say substantially complete. The last elements up here are just some metal panel where you can see where there's some exposed insulation. And I think the final ladder to access the higher roof has been installed, as well as the smaller ladder, which is just out of frame to the left to access the fitness room roof has also been installed. Thanks, that's all I have.
Questions?
Alex,
Mo?
do you have the pictures of the paved? Yeah, I took a run over this morning and got a couple of pictures of the paved parking lot. And I don't want to stay your thunder, but there were some cabinets that got installed. They weren't installed, they were delivered. So I grabbed a picture of those, and they were unloading the elevator, so I get excited about that stuff. I figured you guys might too, so.
Sure. Bonus.
I figured they're free. It's not like the old cameras. You can shoot as many as you want, so I figured I'd do it so people get to see what it looks like paved, so I think Alex can.
Yeah, I'll share my screen.
You didn't have to bring these to the photo mat at White City?
No,
you're
no.
Good.
Yeah. We had a little fog there for the effect, so. But that's the back of the building. You can see the generator pad.
Yep.
And those are some of the cabinets, just, I don't know, I can't remember which room that was, but they're scattered around the second floor. And that's what's left of the elevator that's going inside the building. Is there one more? There should have? There should.
Yeah, there's just 4.
There were two? Oh, there were four, okay, the first one, okay. Well, anyways, so, it's starting to look like a finished site now with the paving.
It is. Thanks,
Thank
Mo.
you for those, Mo.
Yeah, yeah.
The spooky
questions?
hollow effect coming.
Yeah.
No?
I figured instead of wait, yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
figured instead of waiting another month, everybody doesn't get a chance to go over there.
Yeah.
It's getting there.
Excellent. Thanks, Mo. Thanks, Tyler.
Mhm.
And that brings us to Ryan from Fontaine Brothers.
Well, Mo knocked out my 3 openers.
Oh, sorry.
We'll get that going. But the
Not bad.
I was a show stealer.
So you gotta get there early.
yeah, I guess so. So as Mo mentioned, paving was completed Friday for the back parking lot, and that's a real big step for us. That opens us up for a lot more work. With that, we expect granite curb install to start later this week, and they should be able to knock out that whole back parking lot in a week. Once we get that done, we'll have the concrete sidewalks and then topsoil being placed, so it'll really get to be a finished area. Out of just to the left, out by one of the detention ponds, where all the trees that are going to be installed in this phase of works for the landscaping, those all came right down the road from Bigelow. So as soon as areas are loamed and prepped, we'll get those installed. So it's really the pavement. As much as it finishes the outside, it also helps us clean up the interior with just mud and dirt being tracked inside the building. With that in mind, as Mo mentioned, the millwork install started today, which is great. They're gonna get all of the material as much as possible onto the second floor while we still have that loading dock open. Just trying to push everything out of the high detectives area and just all the bulk material. One of the, just including the millwork that we're bringing on through that loading dock. We had all of the ceiling tiles delivered. That's actually being stored in the future use area off of stair 2 right now, and just anything and everything we can get up there. We're gonna do so. Coming up at the beginning of next month, we have all the lockers for the second floor locker room and the mobile shelving unit off the detectives area, just all of the bulky material. Just, it seems like you're keeping an exposed area of the building, exterior of the building open longer and longer, but we're just pushing to get all the material in because a little wait now is gonna help productivity down the road. As Mo mentioned, the elevator material was delivered today. They're starting to lay out all of their rails and everything, so that process is going to be moving nicely, which is good to see. That's always a big key when you think to substantial completion and getting a TCO in a couple months here is your elevator operational? Do we have an elevator inspection? So it's a great thing to see. We had our first finished flooring installed last week with the raised access floor in the comm equipment room out behind dispatch. So that will enable our electrician to set all his racks and start getting all your low voltage wiring terminated. The whole group has been in coordination with Town of Shrewsbury IT about network switches, any of the FF&E items, as well as Neil and his group with the Watson control desks for dispatch, making sure when your FF&E items are coming in is all timed right with getting complete out of those areas, making sure we're prioritizing the right spots to get those done in an expedited manner, however we need to make sure that the move-in process starts and goes smoothly. One of the items that we didn't catch a picture of was the antenna base for the radio tower is formed. We just got word that's going to be poured tomorrow. So once that's poured, we're going to wait for our concrete breaks to make sure that's meeting strength. And I'd imagine the next couple of weeks here, you'll see the tower go up behind the Sally Port, which is a great thing to see. As Tyler noted, we're getting close with the curtain walls, and one of the things, if you go back to the presentation later on, was one of our change orders previously was to go to a low E glass. It was something I noticed for the bullet resistant glass in the front there. Looking at it today, you couldn't tell a difference between the two. So just something, out of the changes that come along in a recognition of, what that got us. Looking at the lower glass, it's bulletproof, and then the upper operable pieces and the high glass is all non-bulletproof. It's just regular tempered glass. I couldn't tell the difference myself, so it was nice to see some of the changes and things that come up during construction kind of be completed and see what that got you. I think that was a great benefit. Along with the windows and curtain walls getting wrapped up, we have our next round of window testing. So I believe thus far we've had 18 different window units tested, and all of those have passed. And next Tuesday we have our first 2 curtain walls, 2 of 3 curtain walls to be water and air infiltration testing completed. So that's just a good field quality control to make sure that all the installation, the caulking, the whole system is working as it should, and we try to avoid leaks as much as possible, just so Keith's life is easier down the road with maintenance. Just more pushing on finishes. One item I printed out for everybody was this allowance log. So one thing that we as a team have been doing over the past 2 months is just more recently getting into it heavy, is relative humidity testing of the concrete slabs with all of the LEED compliant adhesives for flooring. It's become a real critical thing where you have to have to be LEED applicable. You can't have any VOCs, and the non-VOC glues have a lower relative humidity requirement. So essentially, generally for new construction, as slabs are placed and then cured, the relative humidity drops over time. But with the group's recent experience, it doesn't typically drop enough in a fast enough rate that we don't have to do moisture mitigation on projects of similar schedules. So we carried an allowance within the GMP for moisture mitigation, and we've had both of our flooring subcontractors out to do relative humidity tests as well as the third-party testing agent, and they've found across the board that we're going to need to do moisture mitigation for the resilient flooring, all your rubber tiles, sheet goods, linear plank tiles, and the resinous epoxy floor in the cell areas in Sallyport. So I'm working with those subcontractors to come up with proposals for that work, and it's going to get billed against this allowance moving forward after review with the team itself. So it's not going to go through a complete change order process like the PCOs that we'll discuss shortly, but it's similar to how we build the temp enclosures and temp heat allowance over the winter when we tempt in the ground floor and use the ground thaw heaters to thaw the frost out. So we're billing it as the work progresses with input and review from the design team and the owner's representative. So it's just a matter I wanted to let everybody know. You're going to see this as part of the bill for next month's requisition, and it's kind of the process that we've set up and reviewed, and it was a cost that we expected, just why we set an allowance aside in the GMP. So
Very good.
that's what I have for an update.
Questions? John?
On the casework, now that you're getting installed, conditioned in spaces?
Yeah, so that's one thing I didn't mention. Good point. So the electrician is going to be pushing all the secondaries from the transformer that was set last fall by Selco into the main electric room, and then we have feeders going out into all of our sub panels. Since the early summer, the focus was always have permanent power on and get MEP systems started up to condition spaces come the first week of October, with some hiccups with wire. That we are expecting the wire this week and are pushing the electrician to make sure that they still meet that October 1st deadline. The material that they've delivered thus far, the mill worker, the installer, and the supplier are comfortable that it is stable enough to not move and shift. But items such as like the cherry window casements, they're concerned just with the nature of the material that if it was installed in the current conditions that there would be problems with it. So we're going to wait until we have permanent HVAC systems up and running before starting that work. But that's something we are taking into consideration.
Question? Anything else? Donna?
So I follow what you're saying about the LED, but could you just, what's the real value of going through all this? There's an obvious value to it.
The value for
You mean lead?
Yeah.
for lead, that's the certification that the town chose.
No,
to-
I understand that, but why is this so important? It is important, but what's the,
So I'm not exactly sure how all the points work. I think Jeff might be able to
he's smiling behind you.
to describe what the implications of going with non-VOC compliant.
Call in a lifeline.
Yeah.
Yeah, the LEED certification is really about building in a more sustainable fashion. And, you know, it looks at more than just energy savings or the use of green energy. It looks at across the board at all sorts of environmental considerations. A lot of them have to do with indoor air quality and the healthiness of the building. Some of them have to do with stormwater management, making sure that, you know, all the water that flows across our site leaves in a clean and suitable condition. Some of them have to do with energy performance. Some of them just have to do with promoting more sustainable lifestyles, the bicycle racks that come along with LEED. So there's a whole gamut of different things that's
But
really.
the VOC, excuse me, but the VOC part of the floor, that's a health issue.
That is a health.
So
yes.
it's extremely important. There's an expense to it, it's budgeted, that's good. But it's a health issue and really valuable to be addressing it up front.
Yeah.
So, you know, none of these have
I was
necessarily.
trying to put the words in your mouth.
Yeah, none of them necessarily have a payback in terms of energy savings, although good envelopes will help you with that. But you're right, it's healthier environment, healthier indoor living quality, healthier indoor environment overall. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and I think, Kristen, maybe you can remind us, I think Beal School and Sherwood are both.
The library and Beal School.
Library and Beal School, I'm sure.
I think-
We built those both to LEED silver, I believe, yes.
But the my antenna went up when you were talking about the VOCs. Here we are
Yeah.
struggling always to get it out of our water,
Mm-hmm.
which we've worked really hard for many, many years to do, and we've done that. It's important because it's the subtle places where we don't realize where it is in the first place. And so it's good that you're addressing it up front, and it's worthwhile financially to do it.
Yeah,
I just think it's important to talk about it a little bit, because I think it's good.
and like
Leads or no leads.
like everybody said, it was an expected expense. We had our slabs have been placed at the Beal School, which we just finished up for twice as long, and we still had similar relative humidity readings. So it's the nature of the material, it's the nature of the time frame of the project. So it was something we did our best to anticipate. So
So I think it's good.
Want to make sure the glue sticks, I guess, right?
That's the bottom line.
yeah,
Or
exactly.
you got anything else for Ryan? No? Okay, thanks, Ryan.
Yep.
All right, Donna. Item number 5, review and act on the following Fontaine Brothers Incorporated change orders. We have change order 006.
Yes.
I was disorganized with my thoughts because I don't know if this month we got more communication or not, but it was good information, and I appreciated it, and I couldn't remember where I read it, so I was trying to find which paper it was on. So,
You want
Neil,
to,
do you want to go through
why don't I
them one
just
by
go
one?
through all the
Okay, I'll
items
let you go
first, and then, I know you want to go first on
I
it.
really.
I just don't want you to steal my thunder.
Okay, okay.
What do you got in that cup, Donna?
Iced tea.
So quickly, there's only 4 items to go through. PCO 52R was some additional signage that wasn't anticipated or reflected in the bid documents. It was basically a sprinkler room sign, room occupancy signs in 5 of the larger spaces within the station, cell block door graphics, and exterior door graphics around the perimeter of the building. So that's pretty straightforward. It was $2,114.69 for that signage. The second item, if you recall, last month, we talked about the disposal of the surplus topsoil from the site. It was going over to the Wheelabrator plant. Our quantities were slightly underestimated based on what was actually taken off-site. So this PCO simply makes an adjustment for the extra 466 ton that was taken off-site. So $7,413 at the approved $15 a ton unit price. PCO 80 was the relocation of a pre-action cabinet as part of the sprinkler system inside the building. Generally speaking, when we did the gender-neutral changes for the locker facilities on the first floor, we sort of moved the wall one way and took a little bit of space out of the custodial closet. We thought we had left enough space. The cabinet came in slightly larger than what we had expected, and we had a clearance issue with the electrical code if the cabinet stayed in place. So it required us to relocate it upstairs to the boiler room and extend the piping and services up to that location to support it. And that was $18,871.31. Those 3 items are funded within the GMP from construction contingency, so there's no effect in the overall cost of the contract. The last item was a requested change from the IT department. The software platform that we had specified for the closed-circuit TV cameras was a step below what they're accustomed to using. So by paying the increase, the extra $11,049 for this project, it puts us on the same operating platform as all the other cameras that are operating in the town under this particular platform. So that correction was made, and I said the upcharge was $11,049. There's no change in the device. That's strictly the software that runs the cameras. And that was funded because the expense was requested from outside. The request was made from IT, and it will be funded from the owner's contingency item below. So it'll be an increase in the GMP.
Do we have any idea what the lifespan is of this software? I mean, how long they'd be using it for?
I can't tell you how long they've been using it for, but part of those access control systems is always a annual maintenance plan that is outside of the capital expense that takes care of upgrades, and so it's really a indefinite.
Yeah, so if we were to do a software upgrade, though, somewhere down the line, it would all be done as one comprehensive.
That would cover all of the cameras that you have in town, and it would be under what I assume is a blanket agreement for service, ongoing service from the particular vendor.
Okay, Donna.
Any questions? Donna, maybe?
I have a couple. My first one's actually an easy one. With the excess soil,
Yes.
are we comfortable that we're really $7,000 over?
I think it's gone. I think we've
So this-
moved everything but the second driveway at this point?
The soil, the quantity was at the weigh station of the Wheelabrator ash landfill. So they'd weigh the trucks coming in, they'd weigh the empty trucks coming out, and they'd get the tear weight from there. So that is from as third party as we could get. The spreadsheet was directly from their weigh scale operator. So those were the weights that we received, and that's how we'd previously tracked it at the Beal School when we did an export to Wheelabrator there as well. So
Okay. And on the fire suppression system, going to the second floor, are there any drawbacks to going to the second floor other than the amount of money that it costs? I mean, is there any,
Takes up some more space in our boiler room.
Yeah.
That's about it.
it's just a space thing, it's not, it should be any, like the fire department's not gonna come in and say,
No.
we really wish you put it on the first floor.
And it's a specific system just for the server areas. That's all it feeds. And it was definitely more detrimental downstairs in the closet that it was in than it is where it is now.
And then my last question is, on the IT work, should we have known that ahead of time, or is it just, it is what it is?
I think it could have been known ahead of time. Should have, I'm always hesitant to say. We obviously knew enough to specify the system that you had, and I think there was an assumption made of what software system or level of software service that would be provided to run it. If a different question had been asked, perhaps we would have known that ahead of time. I think it's a fair question, but we didn't get into that level of
Yeah.
detail.
Okay, I think that's all I have for now. That's all on the change orders, anyhow.
No.
We still would have to pay that cost, though.
Yes. It would have been.
Would-
oh,
We would have known it
would have been
before, or we know it now.
$10,000 higher on bid day, yes.
That was my question. You stole my question.
Oh, sorry. I guess I'm having a habit of that today.
All right, thank you, Neil. Any other questions around the change orders? I assume we need a motion to
Make a
approve these.
motion that we approve.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve change order number 006. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted unanimously. Thank you, everybody. Item number 6, review and act to authorize the town manager to execute the letter of recommendation for flip-down monitor mounts and TVs.
So I'll go through the LORs. So this LOR specifically is for the flip-down mounts in the training room, the 5 mounts. And that was a discussion and coordination effort between the vendor that I'm recommending here and the team about the TVs that are to be mounted to those flip-down mounts. I guess there's variations on the mount depending on the brand of TV. So as the mount itself was part of was encapsulated within my GMP, which is why we're providing an LOR for it, and a coordination effort and to make sure everything went as smoothly as possible. We added the TVs, which would have typically been out of the construction FF&E budget, to make sure that the amounts that I would get would be able to work with a TV that's acceptable to Greg and his staff, and Mark and everybody with the town. So that is the sum of money for this. And yeah,
And Brian, what is that sum again?
that is $48,000, $2,500. So it's, yeah,
Okay.
TV and mount.
And we're not spending anything extra there.
No, that's coming out of a bucket of money that I still had
Yeah.
within the GMP.
Just so everybody's clear.
Yep.
All right, any questions? No?
So I'd probably need a motion.
Yep,
on
yep,
that.
do we? how
Make a
about
motion that we approve.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to authorize the town manager to execute the letter of recommendation for flip-down monitor mounts and TVs in the training room, I believe, is that it?
Yes,
Okay,
that's where they are.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Unanimously. Oh dear, I lost page 2 on my agenda. Thank you.
Marker boards.
Item number 7, review and act to authorize the town manager to execute the letter of recommendation for marker boards.
So this is a similar, or this is a different situation. So previously I had recommended the same subcontractor for all the specialties, in variations of buyout in different procurement times, or just a process. I accidentally removed the marker board scope, inadvertently from that subcontractor, so this is just a LOR to add them, this scope into their subcontract. They submitted submittals and we went through the whole process, and then I go, hey, you guys don't have this in your contract right now, so this is a technicality. There was buyout savings from that scope, so this is just moving the money back from CM contingency into their scope.
Okay, so it's basically the same situation as the mounts. Okay.
It's
Account-
slightly different, but it's all within
Right,
my scope.
Right,
Yeah.
and that amount was?
$22,540.
Okay.
Move we approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to authorize the town manager to execute the letter of recommendation for marker boards in the amount of $22,540. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so voted unanimously. Item number 8, review and act to authorize the town manager to execute the letter of recommendation for fencing.
So fencing, we had previously recommended a subcontractor back early spring. For whatever reason, after sending them a subcontract agreement and following up with them, they decided that they no longer wanted to take part in this project for whatever reason. At that point, we decided we needed to get a different subcontractor on board. We went back out to different subcontractors. We came up with the one that had the best price, and that was for a delta of $28,150 to the negative. So we have a new fencing subcontractor for the sum of $248,925. Unfortunate event. We previously done work with the former subcontractor. For whatever reason, they decided they couldn't take this job on. The new subcontractor we've worked with many times as well, and we expect them to be able to perform.
So we'll actually be spending less then?
No, we'll be spending more.
Oh, I'm sorry, when
We're
you said
spending
delta.
$28,000.
$28,000
$28,000 more, I'm sorry.
I just have a question.
Of
Does
course.
that include, I don't know if I'm jumping the gun again, but does that include the fencing change
No.
around the dumpster?
Shoot, I forgot to mention that in my, we can talk about that in other business.
Okay.
The dumpster?
Around
fencing okay.
You didn't want to put the fancy fence around the dumpster? you
Correct,
wanna put
yes,
the
that
chain.
does include the fencing change around the dumpster, yes. I
So
thought you-
that savings is
That
still
savings-
within this 28?
That savings is within that $248,925. And without that, it would have been
Even more.
260 and change.
Right.
So that's inclusive of that. So that's just a process, you know, with this being another good subcontractor of ours, we've already got submittals in and partially approved with them, so that's just done.
That was a good catch, because that would have been, that fence
Yeah.
would have broke so fast.
Any questions around the fencing discussion? Everybody good?
I have one question.
Sure.
If we have fencing around the whole building, is it necessary to have fencing around the dumpster?
That is an excellent question.
Visually,
Probably save money.
But it might be
visually,
neat.
it could be the only thing you don't want fencing there for.
Is
Or
it
if you don't
neater?
want people I don't know if people are gonna get let in and access the dumpster somehow if it's not locked with the fence.
Just be the custodian and
I don't see any.
I would say at this point, it's largely aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's just
It's neater.
not looking at a dumpster.
What would the change be? Difference in price, do we have any idea?
Not that much.
It'd probably be like $15,000.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, it's at the privacy fence, it's the more expensive version.
What's your pleasure, chief?
It doesn't matter to me. Just, that's a lot of money to put fencing around a dumpster.
I have a question.
Sure.
So what if you just put chain link and you don't put anything?
I mean, it'd probably still be a $12,000 fence, because it's got the two big gates on it, or the big double gates on it as well, so those are a couple $1,000s, and then you have that section of fence there.
See, I think the gate, I think the fencing is good, but I don't know that the privacy part matters, because.
So I think it might have been part of the planning board decision. I haven't looked at the
Oh.
decision, but generally the site plan approvals require screening around a
Screening,
dumpster
enclosure
because
around
it's
the dumpster.
generally a public site. This is a little bit different because it will be gated, but I can imagine that's probably part of the spec from the planning board decision.
Yeah,
Do we need this decided tonight?
What?
If we want, I would prefer to authorize it, and then if it's decided that that wants to get removed, that we give a credit back, just so I can get the rest of the fence
Sure.
installed.
No, that makes sense, but we can look into that, though, at least have the discussion.
Excuse me, where is the dumpster gonna be located?
So the dumpster is in the west driveway. If you drive straight back, it's just to the left.
You can see it from the street.
If you walk up to the ornamental fence and look through, you could see it directly, yeah.
You know what? We make everybody else to do that.
Right.
Just really, for what we're paying for this building, just leave it,
yeah.
really. We make everybody else do it. You're right, Kristen. It's like,
Just to be, it's gonna be a, you're not gonna be able to see the dumpster, right?
Yeah, it's slatted, like the enclosure is around the sally port for cars and storage for evidence. So it will be private, so it's not, you're just not looking at a dumpster through a chain link fence. no.
just,
Okay.
yeah. And we
No,
don't,
if
we
it's
don't even
visible,
wanna,
if it's
we don't even
visible
wanna
from
go
the
there with
street, I
the planning
understand
board.
that,
Just,
yeah.
Yeah,
Make a motion, we approve.
second,
Okay. We have a motion to review and act to authorize the town manager to execute the letter of recommendation for fencing. For the amount, I believe, $248,925.
Yes.
Very good. All those in favor?
Aye.
I,
Opposed? So voted unanimously. And item number 9, review and discuss the bond rating and borrowing schedule for the police station project.
I can take that.
Kristen?
Sure. So we're proud to report that Standard & Poor's has rated the town AAA once again in preparation for the sale of bonds for the remaining portion of the authorization for this police station building project. And last week, the bonds for $4,875,000 for the remainder of the project were sold. We had 5 bidders and came back with the lowest bidder was Fidelity Capital Markets at 3.58. So we are in good shape. Of course, it's a lot higher interest rate than we saw when we did the original borrowing, but it's a very good rate nonetheless for municipal borrowing. So again, we have this entire amount available. We don't anticipate going up to that, the total amount with this entire project, because we do still have the owner's contingency that we've been limitedly drawing down upon. But just wanted to report to the committee that we did have a favorable outcome on both the bond rating and the sale.
And it's a good thing that we borrowed the majority of it up front
Yes,
and
it
didn't do
is.
a bond anticipation note, because that building would have cost us a lot more
Lot
money in the
more.
long run.
Yeah. Yes, and it's good we did it before the Fed meeting next week, too.
Yeah, right.
Any questions on the bonds? No? Other business? Anybody? Donna?
I just have a question for the chief. Do you have everything you want in the fitness room?
We do, we're still working on that with the vendor,
But
still working on it.
you're satisfied with how that's going as far as what you're getting and what you want? You're getting what you want?
Absolutely, it's coming out great.
Good.
We hope to bring that back to the committee, I'm hoping for next month to with a final order and a final price.
Kristen?
I just wanted to recognize Chief Anderson, Keith Baldinger, and the students of Assabet Valley. They were on Fox and Friends the September 10th Fox live broadcast from the town of Shrewsbury, and showcased the students and the chief and Keith. And Steve was there in assistance from Fontaine, so thank him for being there. It was great press for the town, for the chief, for the department, and for the students, importantly. So I wanted to congratulate all of those involved, and the students actually got a great tour after as well, so they got to see the inside of the building, which I'm sure was really exciting for them.
Do we have a link for that anywhere?
We can share that, yes.
That would be great.
Yep.
I did not see it.
Yep, it was a nice 4 to 5 minute segment.
Nice.
Good.
Kids did a great job.
Excellent.
Guys are stars.
Anything else? No. All right, item 11, meeting schedule. We have October 18th. We good there? Nobody's on vacation?
I am.
Okay, Joe's on vacation.
He's on a good vacation.
Going on a good vacation.
That Italy?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. You won't fly back, huh?
What's
Just
that?
you won't fly back just
No,
for the
no.
meeting? No, we could Zoom you in.
Next day.
Yeah, okay. November 21, is that Thanksgiving week?
Yes.
Matt, you may get Tyler again, Matt and I at the IACP conference,
18th?
The 18th.
Okay, where's that?
Dallas.
Oh, nice. Good time of year to go to Dallas. And December 19th, and that rounds out the year, hard to believe. We good with the meeting schedule? All
Adjourn.
right, very good. Motion to
We
adjourn?
adjourn.
And
All in
that-
favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
That 18th is a Tuesday.
We have no
Everybody knows
meeting
that,
coming,
right?
so that was.
Um,
I think